You're in the partner space. So you
Yes.
have the privilege of being able to talk to customers, and your aperture goes way wider than just cyber or just whatever,
Yeah.
Palo's doing in cyber. So what are you hearing from customers? What's top of mind for them if we're taking a step out of cybersecurity for a second?
Yeah, good question. So I think outsourcing key functions. I think that's still something that more companies want to take advantage of. There's a lot of elementary sort of stuff that maybe they don't have the capabilities to staff up on, or they're realizing they can do it for cheaper and better, or it's just not a core competency. It's not moving the business forward. Things like managed help desk, managed NOC, managed SOC, like those are the obvious ones, right? So I think that will continue to accelerate. Why go through the trouble of finding someone, finding the right candidate, taking a chance on them? Then you got to make sure they have all the right certs. You have to maintain those certs. You get it, right? Everything that comes along with that. If I can just find a good partner to go outsource.
There's definitely parallels that can be tied to the cyber market and what Palo's doing. So Palo about a year ago released a product called XIM, which is, long story short, an autonomous SOC. So it consolidates tooling like your XDR, your SIM, your network detection and response tool, your threat intelligence and puts them on your one hood where AI is going to drive staff aug. But we hear it all over the market. Like AI assistants are really popular. Co-pilots are driving a lot of innovation. Anything to reduce the burden, because I think a lot of enterprises are having a hard time hiring and retaining.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Hiring and retaining. And then you look at how much data is available now. Look at all the ingestion points that a SIM can take advantage of. How many alerts, how many different events are coming up in a daily basis? That's overwhelming for one person to look at or a couple people to look at. So you have to have these tools in place to make that easier, and you have to have a team that can scale, right? And the reality is, for a lot of companies that are in like that mid-size or select space, like they can't, right? It's not a core competency. So
I got analysis paralysis trying to decide the cocktails we're going to make today. I can't imagine being in a SOC and having two, three, 400 alerts to work on. Where do you
yeah,
even start?
I don't
It's
know.
daunting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was never in a SOC. I was in a knock. I used to work in a knock back in the day.
Did you
So
feel when working in the NOC that it was a constant battle of proving it wasn't the network's problem, it wasn't the network's fault?
yes,
I feel
yeah,
like NOC engineers, and I'm a former NOC engineer, I feel like we have PTSD where
absolutely.
you're in a constant battle of having to prove, hey, it's not my switch, it's not my router, it's not my Wi-Fi, it's your application, or it's a storage array, or it's something
Yeah,
else. But you're the first person they call, unfortunately.
absolutely. It's always the network. And then if you're a network guy, it's always DNS, right? Always blame DNS. Probably right. So,
Fair. No,
yeah,
it's true. And I feel like a lot of SOC engineers have the same issue, right? It's proving that it's not a security issue, or it's working triage, or it's delegating it to another team, but still vetting the fact that you're not under attack.
right.
Operations is a tough gig. It really is.
I think about how in the knock, if a circuit was down or there was some sort of connectivity issue, it was a problem. Like I always used to say, we're losing money every second that's down, but we're not, because those credit card transactions, they get stored, right? And they get processed once things come back up. So to the end customer, everything's fine. Yeah, maybe a couple different things don't work, but it's not the end of the world. Like you want to get it resolved, but it's not the end of the world. On the SOC side, how do you do that? Your adversary is doing everything they can to act in a malicious way, under the radar, stuff you've never seen before. And it's up to you to correlate all this stuff. And if you get it wrong, if you think it's not a security threat and it is, the company could be down for good. You could be bankrupt. You could be in jail for all you know.
And consequences can last longer than the outage because PR would be terrible. I feel like networking, mean time to innocence is a really good metric because you're counting down the amount of time it takes you to determine what the real problem is. And
Right,
it rarely is a switch or a router or a Wi-Fi
right.
point. You're just using the network as a means of finding the culpable, the guilty. When it comes to a SOC or cybersecurity, you're talking mean time to detection, mean time to response, mean time to containment. It feels like the stakes are pretty high. And to your point about credit cards being backlogged, I don't think you have that privilege in the cybersecurity world.
No, not at all. Every second that goes by where there could be a threat is one step closer to an absolute catastrophe. Those are high stakes.
which is why you need to position Palo Alto for all your
I knew it.
customers.
Saw that coming. Saw that coming.